toxic masculinity.
Chelsea Clinton calls for a crackdown on anti-vax social media posts. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on. All right. You gotta. Yep. Go somewhere. All right. You guys want to just hang out with Aston for a little bit? He can hang out with you guys. But I do want to click there so that we can look at this story, huh? Speaking at a Vatican-organized conference meant to promote open dialogue, Chelsea Clinton called for a global effort to crack down on all anti-vax social media posts or anything that's skeptical of the official narrative. The statement made in a pre-recorded segment that featured questions for the erstwhile first daughter, Clinton was asked to respond to a query about vaccine hesitancy. What can be done to encourage a wider vaccine adoption? Clinton chose to opine about limiting freedom of speech and cracking down on social media posts, but didn't touch the issue of access and the ongoing debate about waiving IP protections. What are you doing, buddy? All right. Yep, you can hang out. What can be done to encourage wider vaccine adoption? Clinton chose... Yeah, sorry. I lost my place, apparently. Let's see here. Something the White House recently said it would support, even as much of the developed world opposes the plan, even if the EU signaled that it's open to discuss it. Oh, right. Oh, that's what they're talking about. Okay, so they're saying the intellectual property of COVID vaccines needs to be waived, regardless of the wishes of those who develop the technologies, right? So what that means is the companies that created the vaccines can no longer really make money off them. Their technology can basically be distributed freely to everybody. I think that that's something that the companies that created the vaccine have to be able to choose to do. This is that's quite a severe measure. They've actually reached they're nearing capacity in America in terms of everybody who wants to be vaccinated. Everybody who wants to be vaccinated can get vaccinated. Anybody who wants to be vaccinated can be vaccinated. So we're at a point where if you've not been vaccinated and you want to be, you can go. You're just being lazy if you're not. And if you don't want to be vaccinated, you shouldn't have to, right? What is the problem if everybody who's been vaccinated, who wants to be vaccinated, has been vaccinated? What does it matter if somebody else that doesn't want to be vaccinated doesn't get vaccinated? You're already protected. Even if they get infected, you're good. You've got the antibodies. You're good. Anyway, but there's this push to force everybody to get this vaccine. It's irrational. It's totally irrational. You're very distracting. You know that, buddy? He needs attention. He's bored. So she writes, I personally very strongly believe there has to be more intensive and international and coordinated global regulation of the content on social media platforms, she said. We know that the most popular video across all of Latin America for the past few weeks that now has tens of millions of views is just an anti-vax, anti-science screed that YouTube has just refused to take down. I don't know what the hell she's talking about. Clinton added that anti-vaccine content created in the U.S. flourishes around the world due to social media like YouTube and Facebook. Now, let me just say before I read her second quote here, before I express, or before I read that, let me just express my view on vaccines, which is that I generally think that vaccines are safe. But this vaccine is experimental. There are consequences taking the vaccine that we were not fully aware of yet, potentially. And I wouldn't deter anyone from taking the vaccine. I think my sister's taken it. I think it's actually fine. I think it's safe. But I won't take it. I will not take the vaccine. I'm not going to take it. I do have concerns that there are problems that we're not aware of. There have been problems that have been, concerns that have been raised by scientists, by researchers, and there has been an unusually high mortality rate from this vaccine. So, and for a variety of reasons, I don't think that I am particularly susceptible to COVID. I think my parents will probably be vaccinated. I haven't asked them yet, but I suppose I imagine they'll be vaccinated. and I have no interest in the risks associated with taking the vaccine. So I'm not going to take it. I'm not. Okay? And I don't think that's an unreasonable position to have. If you don't want to take the vaccine, you shouldn't take it either. If you want to take the vaccine, you should take the vaccine. And for Chelsea Clinton to say, well, you're not allowed to express any kind of anti-vax sentiment. Well, what does she mean by that? Does she mean that we're not allowed to lie about the vaccine? I think that's probably right. I mean, I don't know about not allowed to, but I don't think people should lie about the vaccine. I agree with that. But the idea that we're not allowed to express our views, I mean, I'm not exactly sure how far this goes in her mind. If we're not allowed to say we're concerned about the consequences of the vaccine, everybody's just supposed to accept that it's perfectly safe and you should all have it. No, I don't think that's true. I don't think that people should. And she says, we know that because I have tried that appealing to the leadership of these companies to do the right thing has just not worked. And so we need regulation. Okay, so now she's saying, and this is flipping mental, that YouTube and Facebook and these companies aren't doing a good enough job of regulating anti-vax content, which is BS. Because these companies, they regulate or they censor people insanely. Like I've got their boot to my neck. I can't distribute any of my videos. I don't even produce anti-vax content. I produce conservative political content that I think is relatively mainstream. I don't even think it's like particularly hard right or even that controversial, but YouTube regulates me. She has no idea. So she's sitting here and she's saying we need to regulate YouTube to censor conservatives even more, or to censor in this particular instance anti-vaxxers even more, even though a lot of the people who are concerned about the vaccine are leftists, Democrats. I imagine that she probably would very easily push this to other issues as well that she doesn't agree with, right? She doesn't agree with the anti-vaxxers, and therefore she needs to be able to regulate those people and what they say. You all right there, buddy? Clinton said the Clinton Foundation has been doing what it can to convince the vaccine hesitant that thing still exists, and the vaccine refusers to accept doses of the COVID vaccines. I mean, they're not doing anything too extreme. They're just strapping people down and injecting them against their will. That's not really happening. That was a joke. Just in case the YouTube people want to come at me. She believes it's important to differentiate between people who are hesitant and those in the refusal group. The hesitant have questions that she can answer, for instance, regarding the speed at which the vaccines are developed, their ingredients, and conspiracies about microchips. Yeah, I'm hesitant, and I don't think she does have answers. That's my problem, right? I don't think she's not a... What do you mean she has answers? She doesn't have any answers. She's the child of a former president. She's nothing. What the hell answers does she have? Oh, well, she actually developed the vaccine with her bare hands. Chelsea Clinton did it all herself. Sort of like Al Gore invented the internet. She developed the vaccine, so she has all the answers. So if you're hesitant, don't worry. Chelsea Clinton has all the answers. Give me a freaking break. All right, well, that is it for the news, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say about all of this. It'll give me a second here to... We've got a super chat somewhere, but I think oh, no, there's one. $5 from Democratic Detox. Chris, your energy is much more natural when your lady friend ain't around. We notice the good stuff, man. The lady friend actually is my wife, Democratic Detox. Well, I'll tell you what I figured out. And this is actually something that I think to some degree that you're right. And the reason is because... Toxic Masculinity. Weekdays, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.